So hi everyone, I'm back today with my second design team project using Simple Stories Jingle All the Way paper collection. So what I created was a card holder for A2 cards. So those are the cards that measure 4¼ by 5½. And I made this little holder, make a perfect little gift to give to somebody, or maybe you just want to make it and use it yourself. So I'll just kind of walk through what I did, and then we're just going to assemble one and not put any pattern paper on it because I honestly don't have any more pattern paper for this particular collection. I have used it all. So on the front of the holder itself, so the holder itself stands up like so, but of course I can't show you with it standing like that, so I'm just going to kind of lay it down so I can kind of go through the front. So I put a piece of pattern paper on. I used Craft Artisan cardstock to build my holder with. This was one of the tags, and actually when I was working on my folio I kept thinking I want to do something with these tags. These tags are just amazing, and that's when I came up with the idea, let's make some cards with them. So I had this die for this doily in my stash, so I just made cut out some doilies, but you could use any doilies you have in your stash. This is just some twine that I had, and so this is one of the tags. I adhered it onto some artisan cardstock, and then I popped it up. This is from the, I believe it's the sticker sheet, and then I just put it on some artisan as well, and then I popped it up also. The doily is adhered right to the box. As for the closure, I used 6 strands of twine, and I started out with about 1 yard of each, so I had 3 ivory and 3 red. Then I divided them into sets of 2, and then I braided them just like you would have braided hair or braid hair, and then I just tied the ends, and that's what I used for my closure. And then of course I punched holes for this twine to go through. So it's just a simple bow, and it just slides out, and inside I tried to keep my embellishing flat, so when you open it the actual holder stands up something like that. But of course it's going to make it really hard for you guys to see. And then on the back is what I did. So I'll start here on the front. So it's another tag. This is from the sticker sheet, and I thought what a great place to put it. Another piece of doily, some more twine, and I was really limited with what I had to work with, so my pattern paper is just what I had. And I like sort of this definition, so I put a little strip between this pattern paper and the buffalo plaid. And this comes from the chipboard, and more pattern paper. And then, like I say, I did put pattern paper on the inside and the outside of this holder, and then the holders adhered to the middle of the front and back. And then on the back I just kept it really plain with 2x2 cut aparts, cup of cheer, and again something to define the 2 pieces of pattern paper I was using. And I did the same here on the front. I just thought it needed to be broken up a little bit, and I had some of this left, so I just adhered it right on top of the pattern paper that I had laid down. And then as for the cards, this holds 4. You might be able to get 5 in there, but because I like to pop things up, I could only comfortably put 4. So I'm just going to put my envelopes. And what I did too is on the sticker sheet there was a whole bunch of little words. So I just adhered one of the little sayings to the back of each of the envelopes, just as a little addition. And then as for the cards themselves, there's a piece of chipboard and the tag, which are both popped up, and then a piece of the doily, which I adhered right to the pattern paper that I'm using as my base. And I did use, I went with 1/4 of an inch border around everything. I just thought it looked better with the cards. And then inside, I had some leftover stickers, so I used some of them to decorate inside. And there's a little bit of shimmer. I sprayed everything with a bit of shimmer. I don't know if you can see it. I'm hoping you can. And like I say, it was just what I had left. So there's really no random, just whatever I thought worked well together. And here's the last one. So that's my second project. Easy peasy. You could probably make several of these in an afternoon. Great gifts to give to people. If you do craft fairs, or if you can do craft fairs this year, what a great idea to sell at your craft fair. I know if I could be doing my craft fairs this year, there would definitely be some of these on my table. So it just slides back in, and you don't want to let go of the string like I did over here. And then it just kind of like a milk carton a little bit. And then I'll lay it down. Ties like so. And I'm going to set this aside, and we can get on with the construction of the holder itself, because cards, they're just your standard A2 cards. Okay, so you need 4 pieces of cardstock, and you can almost get it all out of one piece of 12 by 12 paper. So I'm going to go through the measurements first. So the first piece measures 5 by 12, and I scored it 5.5 and 6.5. Then I have 2 pieces that measure 2.5 by 5, and on the 2.5 inch side I scored it 1/2. And then my last piece measures 7 by 8. On the 8 inch side I scored it 3.5 and 4.5. Then I rotate it to the 7 inch side. I scored it 1 inch. Then I rotated it completely around to the other side and scored it 1 inch. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to fold all my score lines and burnish them well. And I would highly recommend, when you are putting your pattern paper on, you do it before you make it into the actual holder or box. I have a hair from my dog. What else is new? So that's the one piece. So this is actually what makes the holder. And then we're going to fold on this score line. And then like so. So first thing I would suggest you do is we want to attach that 2.5 by 5 piece to our 5 by 12 piece, and you're adhering it to the inside, and you want to make sure that it's centered and you've got it right along your fold. Your tab is right along the raw edge of, like so. And if it fits and you're happy, then you can put some adhesive on it, and I'm going to use the art glitter glue. I'm not mitering these corners. You could if you wanted to, but I find I prefer not to. So I'm just so you just want to make sure that you're not overlapping. That you're right up to the edge but not over. And if you're happy, then you can burnish. And then we're going to the other side. And we're just going to dry fit. Because if you follow me, you know that I like to dry fit everything just to make sure. I have been known to make the odd wrong cut. And again, just going to line this up like so. And like so. Give it a good burnish, making sure nothing's hanging over. Okay, so we want to have our angle punch, and Tammy does sell these in the store. So this is a crocodile corner chomper. Mine might be a little different color than the ones that Tammy is selling in the store because I've had mine for a couple of years. But because my tags are angled here, I decided that I would bring that into the actual holder itself. So I angled the additional flap that I added on. We can do that now. Now, I would recommend that you lay down your pattern paper before you move on with anything. So I would put pattern paper here and here, here, and here on the inside. Then I would turn it over and I would put pattern paper here, 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 and here. Okay? And if you notice, let's bring the sample back in, I did break mine up with another piece of pattern paper. And all I did is I laid down my first piece of pattern paper, making it 1/8 of an inch smaller than the space was. And then I just cut a little border strip. Okay? So you would put all that pattern paper down first, front and back, because that's going to give your holder some stability. I did not cut I did not punch my holes until I had my pattern paper on. I just felt it was a lot easier punching through. But you're probably only going to want to punch through one side at a time. And what I would suggest you do is after you've punched through on this side, draw some holes or draw some lines so that you know where to punch the second piece. Okay, so we're just going to set that aside. Now we're going to our other piece that's going to actually hold the A2 cards. And we have some cutting to do here. So I want to make sure that when I cut, I am cutting on, I want to cut so that my bump from my score line, I'm cutting that away. So on this side of it, I am going to cut to the right of the bump. I hope that makes sense. And I'm literally just cutting up to this score line. And then I'm going to repeat it on the other side of this tab, but this time I'm cutting to the left of the bump. And it's kind of the way I make a box when I'm doing boxes. And then what we want to do is we want to miter this tab. So you're just going to miter up to the score line, and you should just be able to pull it out. And again, I'm going to repeat over on this other side, like so. And then I'm going to turn it. And I'm cutting to the left of the bump on this side and to the right of the bump on this side. I'm going to hold this up so you can see what I did. So there's that bump or score line, and I cut so that the bump itself stays on the tab. And then when I miter the tab, I'm cutting away that bump. And it just makes for a cleaner box. So I'm just going to burnish my tabs again. So literally what you're going to do, first of all, we're going to put some pattern paper down. So on the inside of this particular holder, let's get it out again. Of course, I would tie a knot in it. So on this particular holder, I decided, because I had a lot of that blue snowflake material paper left, I had adhered the inside with that. But at the bottom, I used a piece of the Christmas lights, but you can, like I say, use whatever you want. So you would put pattern paper here, here, and here. Okay? And then on the outside, you are going to put pattern paper here, here, and here. And when you start putting your box together, you're going to want to decide which is going to be the front. So I'm going to make this the front, just write it on here, of my box. So that's this side of the box. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that my tabs that are on the back side of the box come up first. And then my tabs that are on the front side of the box come up second. And I always like to dry fit. And what I'm looking for here is to make sure I got nothing hanging over at the top, because we don't want to miter our tops, because then that's going to make for a wonky looking box. So what you are going to do is you are going to add adhesive here and here and on the tabs. And then the tabs are going to adhere to the back of the box or the holder, like so. And I'm just going to use this adhesive for this process because I want to take this one and actually add pattern paper to it. Like so, making sure everything is nice and square, like so. And then you're going to add your adhesive to the inside of the front flap, bring it up, making sure you're happy, burnish it. Now remember, this is after you've put pattern paper on everything. And then the only thing you have to put pattern paper onto now is your 1-inch inside, because you're going to already have put pattern paper here and here. So I'm going to take it apart just so you can see what I did, because I know it's hard when you're looking from the down angle and I'm lifting it up. So you're putting adhesive on the little tabs, and then you're going to adhere the little tab to the back, flap or tab, whatever way you want to say it. And you could at this point in time put your 1-inch pattern paper on now. That is a thought, because then it makes it easier. And then the adhesive you've put on the front of the holder, and then once you have it all closed up, like so, you are ready to adhere it to the inside of your holder. So I'm just going to add some of this adhesive, and literally all I'm going to do is I'm centering it from inside those 1-inch score lines, making sure I'm not hanging over any place. And then that's as easy as this is. And you just recreated your little card holder. Now I had somebody suggest, I think it was Tammy said, wouldn't this make a great hot cocoa holder? You know, those packets of hot cocoa, and you could give it as a gift to someone. I think that's a great idea too. You could even put a chocolate bar in there too. There's enough room for that. Peppermint. Like, yeah, you just don't have to use it for cards. So you enjoyed this very simple, easy A2 holder and card set. Please, if you haven't already subscribe to my channel, I would love if you could. And if you make anything that I have shown you, you can always post those pictures over on my Facebook group, which is All Things Paper by Bonnie. I'd love to see what you create. And that's all for me for today. Hope you guys are having an amazing day, and see you soon. Take care.